The future of humanity hangs by a thread. Empires rise, worlds burn, and whispers of rebellion echo across the stars. Nothing is certain, except one truth: the story of Foundation is far from over. Season 4 promises not just survival, but a reckoning that will shake the galaxy to its core. Season 3 left us standing on the edge of a storm. The Empire, once thought unbreakable, showed its first cracks. Brother Day's rule was shaken by betrayal, rebellion, and doubt. The question of identity within the Cleon dynasty grew louder, leaving the perfect chain of clones fractured and uncertain. Meanwhile, Seldon's vision, the mathematical prophecy guiding the fate of trillions, pushed closer to its terrifying predictions. The Foundation's influence spread wider than ever, but so too did the enemies determined to crush it. We watched as Gall Dornick and Salverharden faced decisions that could change the course of history, not just for themselves, but for every world under the shadow of the Empire. Their bond was tested, their trust challenged, and their courage questioned in ways they never imagined. The vastness of space became a battlefield of both ideas and survival, with loyalty constantly in doubt. And in the midst of it all, questions lingered. Could Seldon's plan truly be unstoppable? Or had his vision of the future already begun to unravel? The end of the season left us with moments that refused to fade from memory. The rising tide of rebellion was no longer a distant threat, but a force at the Empire's doorstep. The Cleon bloodline, once untouchable, was shown to be vulnerable, with power slipping through the cracks of arrogance and tradition. The Foundation itself, a beacon of hope for some and a symbol of danger for others, was more divided than ever. Every alliance seemed fragile, every promise temporary, and every victory incomplete. This was not just a cliffhanger. It was a promise that the war between destiny and choice, between order and chaos, would only grow darker in the next chapter. The story of Foundation Season 3 ended not with resolution, but with the haunting feeling that the true battle had only just begun. The first look at Season 4 does not waste time in reminding us that the galaxy is no longer stable. It opens with a sense of scale that feels bigger than anything we've seen before. New planets shimmer on the horizon, worlds untouched in the previous seasons, yet already caught in the struggle between freedom and control. Cities of light float across alien skies, temples rise from ancient soil, and fleets of ships gather like storm clouds, preparing to unleash their fury. Each image feels heavy with meaning, a message that the story is expanding beyond the fragile balance we thought we knew. The Cleon dynasty returns. But what we see now is not unity, is division. The once perfect mirror of cloned rulers begins to look more like shattered glass. Faces that should be identical carry subtle differences, eyes filled with doubt, pride, or even fear. The cracks in their empire are no longer whispers. They are wounds too deep to ignore. Every shot of the throne room feels colder, every glance between brothers sharper, as if the very foundation of their rule is about to collapse. For the first time, the Empire's immortality feels like a lie, but the story does not linger on the Empire alone. The Foundation itself steps forward with a new voice, a new confidence, and a new level of danger. What once began as a hidden plan to preserve knowledge has now grown into something far more powerful, force that can rival the Empire itself. The trailer teases us with visions of leaders standing before armies, of symbols raised high to inspire hope, and of quiet conversations that carry the weight of rebellion. The Foundation is no longer simply surviving, it is challenging the future. We are also introduced to new faces, each one carrying the promise of mystery. Warriors from distant worlds, scientists with dangerous secrets, and rulers who are not content to sit in the shadow of the Cleons. These characters are not here to fill the background. Their presence feels immediate, urgent, as if their choices will alter the balance of power. Some look like allies, others like enemies. But in the universe of Foundation, nothing is ever so simple. Every friendship can become betrayal, and every enemy might hold the key to salvation. The visual design in this first look is staggering. Ships glide across the stars with elegance, but behind their beauty is the threat of destruction. Battlefields stretch wider, no longer contained to one corner of the galaxy. We see entire planets at risk, their people caught between empires and prophecies they may not understand. Even the quiet moments, two characters walking through ruins, a single hand brushing against ancient stone, are filled with tension. Every scene feels like a puzzle piece of a larger prophecy, waiting to lock into place. And then there are the mysteries. The trailer does not shy away from leaving questions burning in our minds. Who is truly in control of the Empire now that the Cleons are faltering? What role will Gall and Salver play as the storm rises? Has Seldon predicted this chaos? Or is his grand plan slipping away from him? Each shot feels like a clue, a reminder that this story is not just about action, but about the very struggle of fate itself. The first look builds an atmosphere of inevitability. You can almost feel the weight of history pressing down on the characters, as if the galaxy itself knows a turning point is near. There is fire in the stars, betrayal in the air, and destiny written in numbers that only a few can read. Season 4 does not simply continue the story, it transforms it. What began as survival is now a war for the soul of humanity, a test of whether the future can be shaped, or if we are all bound to collapse under the weight of empire and prophecy. The trailer closes not with comfort, but with challenge. The music rises, the visuals cut sharper, and the feeling of danger becomes undeniable. It dares us to wonder what kind of galaxy will emerge when this chapter ends. Will the Foundation rise to power? Or will the Empire crush everything in its path? Will the prophecy hold true, or will chaos prove stronger than even the greatest of plans? One thing is certain. Season 4 is no longer about waiting for the future. The future has arrived, and it is burning. Every great story hides its power not only in battles and empires but in the questions it forces us to ask. Season 4 of Foundation takes these questions and amplifies them until they echo across the stars. At its core, this season is not just about war or rebellion. It is about fate itself, whether humanity is doomed to repeat the same mistakes, or whether the future can be rewritten by those brave enough to defy destiny. The tension begins with the Empire. For centuries, the Cleon dynasty represented order, control, and unbroken rule. But now, that perfection is unraveling. The clones who once mirrored one another now reflect doubt, jealousy, and individuality. It is no longer a dynasty of one mind, but a family divided by pride and fear. Season 4 explores what happens when the myth of immortality is exposed as fragile. What happens when gods bleed, when rulers who claim to be eternal show weakness. The tension here is not only political but personal, because the fall of an empire always begins within. On the other side stands the Foundation. What started as a small, hidden outpost has grown into a movement. But with growth comes temptation. Power brings ambition, and ambition brings corruption. Season 4 asks us whether the Foundation is truly a force for good, or whether it risks becoming the very thing it was built to resist. The tension is not only in its fight against the Empire but in the choices it must make within. Can knowledge save humanity, or will it be twisted into a weapon just as deadly as tyranny? Between these two powers, we find individuals caught in the storm. Characters like Gall, Dornick, and Salvor Hardin embody the eternal struggle of free will versus inevitability. They are not just pawns in Hari Seldon's plan. They are people with fears, desires, and impossible choices. The trailer teases moments of intimacy, of heartbreak, and of sacrifice. Season 4 makes it clear. The greatest battles are not only fought with armies, but in the hearts of those who must decide whether to follow the path laid before them or carve out something new. And, looming over everything, is Hari Seldon himself. His plan, once seen as flawless, now feels like a riddle that grows more dangerous with every passing moment. He is both prophet and prisoner of his own vision. Season 4 raises the question, is Seldon guiding humanity toward survival, or is he chaining them to a future they cannot escape? The tension here is not only about belief in his plan but the fear that it may already be failing. The themes stretch even further. Power and survival are no longer separate, they are the same currency, traded by empires and rebels alike. Hope itself becomes dangerous, because it inspires both freedom and fanaticism. Trust becomes fragile, because betrayal can come from anywhere. Season 4 leans into these contradictions, showing us a galaxy where every truth carries a shadow, and every victory comes with a price. Visually, this tension is everywhere. In the trailer, you see the sharp contrast between glittering palaces and crumbling ruins, between vast fleets in the sky and the loneliness of a single figure standing against them. The tension is not just in words, but in the way the universe itself looks torn between creation and collapse. Every planet seems to carry scars, every face seems to hide secrets, and every moment feels as if it could tilt the balance of history. The heart of this season lies in a haunting question. Are we ever truly free, or are we prisoners of forces too great to control? Season 4 does not give easy answers. Instead, it dares us to look into the darkness of the future and wonder whether humanity can shape it or whether we are doomed to be shaped by it. That is the true tension, the thread pulling through every frame. Not just who will win, but whether victory even matters, when destiny itself is the enemy. By the end of the first look, it is clear. Season 4 will not be about comfort or certainty. It will be about choices that hurt, victories that cost, and futures that terrify as much as they inspire. The tension does not release, it tightens, drawing us closer to the moment when all threads converge. The war between fate and freedom has never felt this sharp, this human, or this inevitable. Every glimpse of Foundation Season 4 sparks questions. And where there are questions, there are theories. Fans have not stayed silent. Social media, forums, and communities are filled with speculation about what this next chapter will bring. The first look gives us fragments, flashes, and whispers. But it is in those shadows that the imagination of the audience begins to grow wild. And perhaps that is the beauty of this universe. It thrives not only on what it shows but also on what it dares to hide. One of the biggest theories surrounds the Empire itself. Many fans believe Season 4 will finally show the true collapse of the Cleon dynasty. The cracks we saw in Season 3 are no longer small fractures, they are open wounds. The identity of the clones has become unstable, and with instability comes vulnerability. Viewers speculate that one Cleon may break free completely from the genetic chain, choosing individuality over tradition. If this happens, the Empire will face its greatest threat, not from rebels outside, but from betrayal within. Some even wonder if a new ruler, unrelated to the Cleon bloodline, will rise to take the throne, ending centuries of clone dominance in a single stroke. But the Empire is not the only mystery stirring speculation. The Foundation itself has become a subject of heated debate. Will it remain the symbol of hope it claims to be, or will its growing power corrupt it from within? Some fans argue that Season 4 will show the Foundation becoming too powerful, too rigid, turning into a reflection of the very empire it was meant to replace. Others believe the second Foundation, still waiting in the shadows, will finally step into the light, revealing its true purpose. Could this hidden power be the key to Seldon's plan? Or is it another piece of manipulation that will trap humanity in an endless cycle? Then there are the personal stories, the ones fans hold closest to their hearts. The fate of Gall Dornick and Salvor Hardin remains one of the most discussed topics. Will they continue to resist the overwhelming tide of Seldon's prophecy, or will they surrender to it? Viewers wonder whether their bond will survive the storm, or whether tragedy will tear them apart. Some theories suggest that one of them may not survive the season, becoming a sacrifice to push the story into darker territory. Others believe their choices will reshape the future in ways even Seldon could not predict. Seldon himself stands at the center of countless fan conversations. He is a character trapped between brilliance and arrogance, between prophecy and control. Many believe Season 4 will test his plan more than ever before. Did he account for every variable, or has chaos already slipped through the cracks? Some speculate that even Hari himself may begin to doubt his vision, opening the door to dangerous possibilities. Others argue that his plan is unshakable, and everything we see, every war, every rebellion, is part of his design. The question that fans keep returning to is this: how much of the future is inevitable, and how much can still be rewritten? Outside of theories, the fan reaction to the first look has been electric. The visuals have left viewers stunned, praising the scale and ambition of what Apple TV has built. Many call Foundation one of the most beautiful science fiction shows ever made, a series that rivals cinema in scope and imagination. But the excitement is not only about spectacle, it is about depth. Fans are drawn to the layers of meaning, the themes of destiny and choice, the moral weight behind every decision. They are not just waiting for battles, they are waiting for answers to questions that feel timeless. The buzz has created an atmosphere of anticipation unlike anything before. For many, Foundation is no longer just a show. It has become a conversation, a puzzle, a prophecy of its own. Every fan feels like a mathematician, searching for the hidden formula that will reveal what comes next. And in that sense, the show has succeeded. It has turned its audience into participants. Each theory, another thread woven into the tapestry of the story. What we know for certain is that Foundation Season 4 will not shy away from ambition. It will expand the universe, challenge the characters, and test the patience of those who thought they understood the plan. The questions may multiply, the mysteries may deepen, but the excitement only grows. The reactions prove one thing beyond doubt: the story of Foundation is alive, burning brighter than ever, and fans are ready to follow it to the ends of the galaxy. And so the speculation continues. Will the Empire fall? Will the Foundation rise? Will Hari Seldon's prophecy hold? Or will chaos shatter it once and for all? No one knows the answers yet, but the waiting has already become a kind of war. A war of ideas, of theories, of hopes and fears. Season 4 promises not only to deliver a story, but to test the very limits of what fans believe is possible. And when the future finally arrives, it will not be quiet. It will roar.